One day a girl tell me her story that. My name is Emily Carter, I'm 29 years old, and the night my family finally applauded my brother Ryan for being self-made was the night I realized how long I had been invisible in my own family. We were sitting in a private dining room at a country club in California, surrounded by relatives and family friends, all dressed nicely, laughing, and celebrating him like he had achieved something extraordinary. My mother lifted her glass proudly and said Ryan had built everything on his own, with no handouts, no shortcuts, just pure discipline and hard work. Everyone clapped after that, and Ryan smiled like he was receiving an award he truly deserved, even placing a hand over his chest as if he was humbled by it all. But while they celebrated him, I was sitting quietly with my phone under the table, staring at a bank notification showing a $6,500 warehouse payment I had made for him that very morning, just like I had been doing for the past 18 months. I didn't react at first. I didn't cry, I didn't interrupt, I just sat there watching the scene unfold, waiting for him to correct my mother, waiting for him to say something honest. But he didn't. Instead, he enjoyed every word, every clap, every bit of praise, as if none of it had been built on my help. My mother then turned to me and asked if I was proud of my brother, and I forced a small smile and said yes. Then I added something I had never said out loud before, that if Ryan really did everything alone, then he wouldn't need the $6,500 payment I had just canceled before dessert. The moment those words left my mouth, the entire table went silent so quickly it felt like the air had been pulled out of the room. Ryan's smile stayed on his face for a second, but it cracked almost immediately. He tried to laugh it off and called me dramatic, like I was joking or overreacting. But I wasn't. I calmly opened my phone and showed everything. The warehouse lease, insurance, software subscriptions, payroll support, every single thing I had been quietly paying so his business could stay alive. One by one, the truth sat on that table like evidence no one could ignore. My mother immediately told me not to do this here, not to ruin the evening, but for the first time in my life, I didn't shrink back or apologize. I told Ryan clearly that I didn't destroy his business, I simply removed myself from it. And if his entire success story collapsed the moment I stepped away, then maybe it was never really his success in the first place. The room stayed frozen. No one knew where to look. My father lowered his glass slowly, my relatives whispered to each other, and Ryan's confidence finally broke into anger. He told me I was jealous, that I couldn't stand seeing him succeed, but I didn't argue anymore. I just stood up, picked up my purse, and said I was done funding a life that erased me while praising itself as independent. I walked out of that restaurant while my phone started blowing up with calls from my parents and messages from Ryan demanding I come back and fix what I broke. But for the first time, I didn't feel panic. I felt something quieter, clarity. That night, I went home, made coffee, and opened a folder I had secretly kept for months called Ryan Payments. Inside were receipts, bank transfers, and messages where he promised to repay me soon or said I was saving his future. Looking at all of it together, I finally understood how long I had been carrying something that was in. A few weeks later, Ryan finally admitted it. He said he had used my money to make things look stable, that he had lied to investors, and that he thought he would fix it later before anyone found out. But later never came. I didn't yell. I didn't break down. I just told him that I would no longer pay his debts or save him from consequences he had avoided for too long. If he wanted a relationship with me, it had to start with honesty and responsibility, not manipulation and silence. After that, everything changed. He lost the business completely, moved into a smaller apartment, and took a regular job while slowly trying to rebuild his life in a real way instead of an illusion. It wasn't a dramatic transformation, and it didn't erase the past, but it was the first time he was actually living without hiding behind my support. Months later, he sent me a small repayment with a message saying he was trying, not asking for anything, just acknowledging the damage. I didn't respond with anger or emotion. I simply replied, "Keep going." Because that's all I could give him at that point. No rescue, no return to the past, just distance and honesty. What I learned from all of this is that sometimes the people you love don't see you until you stop making yourself disappear for them. And setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel, it makes you real. Because if someone can only succeed by standing on your sacrifice, then walking away isn't betrayal. It's finally choosing yourself.